Sunny Jam with Arlo. This is episode number 39. I'm so glad you stopped by today. Hey, today I thought I'd show you how we're going to get some scary guitar tone on my new song that I've been working on. George Lynch and Two Notes Audio have come out with some speaker cab IRs with some of George's cabinets. George, well known, playing with Dokken back in the 80s. He did some stuff on his own with Lynch Mob and did some stuff with Doug Pinnick from King's X. It's really awesome. He's got a new solo album coming out soon, too, that you can pre-order right now. So you got to check that out. But we'll check that out today. The other thing that we're going to do is I'm going to get two things I'm going to tell you. Pretty cool stuff that happened this week. There's a third thing that I can't tell you, and it's a top secret thing. I'm hoping next week I could share that with you. But I got two really cool things that happened to me this week related to my Sunset Sound recording session. I'm going to tell you about those. So lots of fun stuff on the jam today. You're going to want to stick around. Hey, welcome back to the jam. Hey, if you're new to the channel, my name's Arlo. I've been making demos here in my home studio. I'm getting ready to fly out to Los Angeles here in 5 weeks to record at Sunset Sound Studio, and we're going to do some video in the studio, the session, and all that. It's going to be a lot of fun. I've been talking about that in the last videos I've been doing the last month or two now. But yeah, so if you want, hit the subscribe button here for my YouTube channel or go to my Reward Music website, and you'll get updated more on what's going on with that. So one of the big news, I'm going to give you the two things, and then we're going to jump into this George Lynch speaker cabs. But on Monday, I was talking to my buddy Drew Dempsey at Sunset Sound. We talked for a while on everything that's going on with the session and everything. And he says, hey, yeah, I was just talking to the guy that's going to engineer your session. We got Bill Mims. And I was like, Bill Mims? It's like, Bill Mims, where I know Bill Mims from? And then we got done talking. I was like, oh, it was from Sunset Sound Studio Reverb by IK. I remember he was talking about it once. So I went onto their site and I found the video that I remembered. And so then we started texting. Drew kind of hit Bill and we texted a little bit. And he's going to be great. He seems like a great guy to work with. And he's worked with like Prince and Audio Slave, Metallica, Black Crowes, Ryan Adams, Morrissey. There's a lot of folks. He used to work at Sunset Sound, and then he's done stuff on his own, does stuff for TV and film and all kinds of stuff. So really looking forward to working with Bill on that. It's going to be really cool. That's exciting. We'll be in good hands, it seems like. So that happened on Monday, I guess, or Monday or Tuesday, I can't remember. And then a couple days later, I was like, I got to get a amplifier for the session. I'm taking out the Dunnable guitar that we just unboxed the last Sunday Jam. And I'm loving that guitar. Still, I got my Dunnable shirt on right now, Sasha, if you're watching. And so anyways, I was like, I got to get an amp. So what am I going to do? So I ended up finding SIR studios out there. They rent stuff, and they're right around the corner from Sunset Sound. So they had some cool orange stuff. They had an orange head like Jimmy Page used in the last Led Zeppelin reunion thing. And I was like, I can do that. And then I was like, what would be really cool is if I could get my hands on one of those Friedman Jerry Cantrell JJ 100 watters. Because I'd played one at a music shop not far from here. And it's just badass. It's got like this it's got what he's known for, that heaviness, but there's some really good clean to it. It's like an AC30 type clean, which I thought would be really great. So anyways, so I was like, maybe I can find one. So I went on to Friedman's site and I sent them an email like info@Friedman Amps. I said, hey, I'm going to be out doing a session, and do you have any dealers in the area that might rent me one of these amps? Because it'd be phenomenal. And then I put and if Dave wanted to come by, Dave Friedman, who's the owner, and just drop one off and talk about the amp, that'd be really awesome too. So I sent that in the morning. Maybe I'll hear something back, maybe I won't. A couple hours later, I get email back from Dave Friedman. And Dave says, he said, get a hold of me a little closer to the session. We can probably make this happen. And I was like, yeah! So I was excited about that, because if we pair that Dunnable guitar with those rockin' pickups with that Jerry Cantrell head, it is going to be amazing sounding. So really stoked about that. And I really appreciate Dave too, taking time. They just had a big fire out there. Boutique Amp Builders, I think is what it's called, but they have a big warehouse with some other builders. And luckily they didn't have any direct damage on stuff in there, but I think there was some smoke damage with some of the amps. And they've been working to get into a different warehouse, which I think Dave said he did find a different warehouse. So just amazing that he took, a couple minutes to shoot me back an email and read my email, and just with everything he's got going on, just he's a class act. I've seen Dave in a bunch of videos talking to RJ Ronquillo. I always say his name wrong. And Pete Thorne, he just did one with him a while back, and he works with a lot of YouTube guys, and just big artists. I mean, he worked with Van Halen and Steve Stevens, Jakey Lee, Jerry Cantrell. He's got a very long list of people he works with. The guys at Bill Kelleher at Mastodon. He's got a head too. So cool. So it looks like we're set up with the guitar cab. I'm excited about that. Excited about having Bill on, and it looks like everything is going good. And again, I've got a third thing that happened on Friday that's going to be really awesome. But I can't tell you yet because they told me not to say anything. Summer NAMM's coming up, and we'll talk about that maybe, I'm hoping next week. But it's going to be, potentially it could be very, very ridiculous. So we'll see what happens with that. All right, so let's get into this here. So let me show you what I got going on. I've been working on this song just a little bit. I'm just starting to put guitars down. And I'll show you, we're just going to play through this right channel here, but we'll get it centered up. So we're centered up. Okay. And then we're just going to solo this out. And so I'm using the Amplitude 5, which you guys know I use this all the time because I got kids in the house. I can't fire up the Marshall and all that. But so on this one, I'm using this Marshall head. I did a little EQing the delay with that, and then I disabled the cabs. So if you go to the cabs here, see how I click this little button that turns both these cabs are turned off. So we're just using the head and the EQ a little bit. You guys know I've done stuff with I've talked about the 2 notes cabs before. So what we're going to do here, and I've got a bunch of different ones, like 412 cabs. I've got like the Soldano one, some other brick green vintage. I've got some 410 stuff. I got 212 cabs, 112 cabs, 110. I love this stuff. Sounds awesome. So what we're going to do is I've hit the link button here first, and we're just going to talk about all the 5 amps real quick, and I'll just give you kind of a listen to each of them. The real awesome thing with this, though, and what I'm understanding what George has done, he's given you 5 different cabinets that have 5 totally different flavors to them. So some of them are really great in the low end, some are really great in the top end. Some have like a more of a saturation to them. Some of them are better for rhythm, some better for lead. So he's giving you a bunch. And then what's great with the 2-note stuff is, you can mix and match the head. So you can take the one cab that's great in the low end and pair it up with one in the high end, mess around with your microphones that you're using to give you a little different sound. And you can really come up with just a full palette of tone. And that's kind of George. If you guys aren't familiar with George and his tone chasing, you really should be, because he's been at it for years. He's from that Van Halen vein where those guys grew up and they were like always modifying guitars, modifying amps. George has made he's had signature amps and signature guitars. He makes his own guitars. He had Mr. Scary guitars. So George, big time tone chaser. He's got some amazing guitar amps too, which I'd love to see him get into Amplitude. Just some amazing, amazing heads. He's got a really cool train wreck head that I'm kind of an admirer of. But anyway, let's just take a listen to a couple of these cabs. First up, we'll listen to this Lynch Mars cab. So this one has the Celestion UK 20-watt speakers in it. George was saying he really loves this one for soloing, and what he likes about it too is it just breaks up really nice and it has this really great saturation to it. The one thing he says at the low end is gets kind of mushes out, so it's not best on the low end. So this is one of those cabs where maybe you use it for the top end, and then you stick in one of these other cabs we're going to talk about for the low end. But I'll just give you a quick listen to this on just this rhythm track I got. So I hit the link button, so it's both of these. Oh, we got to pan these. We got to get these panned up the center here, or this will get funky because we got it panned to center in Cubase. Okay, so I think we're good there. I want to pull back this a little bit on the input. Yeah. So let's just let's take a listen to this. So we got 57s on both of these. So here is the Lynch Mars head cabinet. So here's it got a really nice saturation on the top. It's got a real nice kind of sizzle to it, which is pretty good. So let's go next. We're gonna go to the Lynch Citrus. So this is like kind of like an orange cab that he's got. It is an orange cab. And this one he says is very dark sounding, and this meshes good back to the Marshall there, or the Hi-Watt, which we're going to listen to in a second. It's got the Eminence speakers in it, square back Eminence speakers, which I guess are kind of rare, is what he was saying. And he likes it, but he doesn't use this just by itself because it's very much just for that dark lower end stuff. So let's take a listen to that too. Again, we got 57s on both of this. So very cool. I like the sound of that, but I understand too what he's saying. Where you're gonna mix that with some other ones. So let's try next. We're gonna go to the Van Halen ones. Now these are really cool because both of these, the speaker cabinet was owned by Eddie Van Halen, and George got his hands on it. Now there's two different ones: the VH1 and the VH2, which we'll listen to next. The VH1's got the Celestion greenbacks in, and the VH2's got the JBL D120F speakers. Now he has it in his cab where he has, I think on the top he has those D1 JBLs and the bottom's the greenbacks, but they kind of split it into two different amps. But you can emulate how he has his cab if you put the one with the JBLs on one side and the one with the Celestions in the other one. So let's just take a listen to how this sounds. Sounds very tight. It's a very tight sound to that. Let's listen to the VH2 now. Now this is the JBL speakers. Let's see how this one sounds in comparison. Yeah, it's got a little more of that nasally part in there with the JBLs. So I could see they sound very different. I see if you pair those two together, it's probably going to sound pretty amazing. So we'll do that here in a second. We got one more we're going to listen to. This is the Megawatt. So this is his Hi-Watt. This is a pretty neat one because it's got the purple back Fane speakers in it. He says it handles the low end really well. He likes this one for rhythm work. And he was interesting too. He's got an interesting story with this. If you go onto their website, he goes through all these amps in more detail. But he's got kind of a story with that one you should check out. But let's give this a listen again. We're using 57s on this, so let's just take a listen. Yeah, see, I like that one. I think that sounds probably the best to me. Now, let's do something real quick. Let's do that one, but then let's mix it up and we'll add into let's put the Mars in one. We'll put that on the 57. Let's hit the link button there, turn the link off. And then the other one, I want to put that megawatt back in there. But we're going to put a Ribbon 121 mic on that. So let's see how this sounds. And I might mess with the mics on here, but let's just see what it sounds like with the Marshall and the high watt. That's cool. That sounds really full. Let's change out the megawatt. Let's put in the citrus. Let's put in that one that he really liked with because of that. It's very dark sounding. So let's do that. Let's change to the 421 mic. Let's give this a listen here. Yeah, so you can kind of see he gave us, like I said, some different flavors. Some's going to be good for the low end, some good for the top end. And then the other thing that's great with the two-note stuff is once you kind of get it to where you kind of like it, then you can go into this EQ section here, and you can use this high-pass filter in there, right? And you can kind of cut out some of the low end if you want. You can bump up the 2K here to make it punch out a little bit. So that's a nice feature in here. You can kind of do a bunch of stuff instead of going into your inserts and putting more plugins on. You can do some little tweaking inside of here for your guitars. So yeah, so I'm digging this song. I'm going to use these cabs on a new song I'm working on. It's called No Surprise. It's going to take me another week or so to kind of get this one done. And it's kind of my Stephen Stills. I'm thinking about Steve. Last one I was thinking Lil George. This one I'm thinking Stephen Stills is kind of my who I'm aiming this at. But I like to do that. I like to think of different artists and how they would do it. But it's going to come out with how I play. So I think that's kind of fun to do. Mess around with. So check these out. Go to Two Notes. They got them on sale right now. It's $29. It'll go up to like $50, I think, or something like that. But get them now. It's fantastic stuff. If you don't have the wall sound, download it, get it. It's just phenomenal what you can sculpt and put together in there, and it's pretty. It's really user friendly. I can figure it out. Anybody can figure it out. Anyways, all right. Well, I'm gonna get to it. Hope you guys get at it today. Hope you get to play some guitar and hit the little subscribe button. Go to my website. It's my music. Please hit a subscription on there. Help me out. You gotta pay for these plane tickets and session musicians and all that. I appreciate the people that have been doing that so far. So you guys take care. I hope you get to play some guitar today. Bye now.